Hello, everybody, and welcome to PT Educators, Professors of Profit Vlogcast, Episode 2. I'm super excited tonight to have on Dr. Brandon Smith. This guy is a jack of all trades, a master of many, a new grad, so to speak, 1 year out or so. I mean, that's pretty impressive, but he's got a ton of different streams of revenue, a bunch of different income generators. I'd like to bring him on tonight predominantly to talk about PRN, because there's a couple different ways you can make PRN work for you, right? If you can do weekends and evenings, you can work a part-time PRN job. You can work several PRN jobs at high rates to kind of piece together a full-time salary, or you can just find a full-time type travel gig like Brandon's done, and the rates through that and PRN have been pretty phenomenal. So can't wait to get into your story. Brandon, tell us a little bit about your businesses and your area of expertise.
So I graduated PT school May 2018, so I've been practicing now for about 2 years. Prior to that, I kind of looked into the business side of PT, and I realized that the amount of money I paid for my degree didn't make much financial sense. So coming out of school, I kind of went into home health immediately, did some personal training on the side. Right now, I'd say my expertise is mostly in home health. As far as businesses are concerned, I do have some online personal training, but I do my home health mentor course, which has helped many people actually get over $100,000 as a full-time job as in home health, and even keep their jobs with the PDGM changes. And those are my two main focuses right now. I have some other projects in the works. I also have a drop shipping store. But the focus of this is going to be PRN work. And right now, with a complement of travel and PRN, am netting $2,000 to $3,000 per week after tax. So that's a much greater number than you see most people making even years in the practice. And I think a lot of people agree with me when I say, if you've paid over, $150,000 for a DPT degree, which most people have now, we see the numbers coming out. It's kind of astronomical. If you look at the DPT students group, I've seen numbers as high as 300. Working a 9 to 5 for 65 to 100,000 doesn't really make sense. You need to get over that 100,000 range. Now, there's multiple ways to do that. You can marry rich. I'm just messing around, but the more realistic thing to do is to learn about bill rates, learn about billing, and then learn that you're actually going to make more money PRN, and you're actually going to save an employer money as well. So it's actually going to be more beneficial for both parties.
Yeah, I've learned a ton from you, Brandon, in your home health mentor course. It's basically, everything from negotiation to rates to different little tips and tactics and tricks to look into. It's been super helpful. Overall, do you think that healthcare academicians, professors, or clinicians could do what it is you're doing currently with the PRN stuff?
Yes, I believe so. It depends on their schedule. I know that when I was a student, many of my professors had office hours all day, then, teach labs and so on. But you could easily pick up a home health patient on the way home if you have a DPT or are registered as a physical therapist, if you're an older graduate, and so on. Your license is going to still bill the same, and they need PTAs to work under you, and so on. So what's going to happen is that if you negotiate your rates appropriately, which is a whole different topic. I'm not going to break down rates and points and all of that for home health, but for an example, an offer that I received for PRN recently, if you do an eval on your way home, you're going to pick up around $140. So, if you just do that once a day, that easily adds up to $500 a week. It's an extra $2,000 a month, and you could just see someone on your way home from work, regardless of what you're doing.
Yeah, that's definitely something to consider. Now, again, a little bit of that is trading time for money, right? You're still having to take that hour on your way home, and it extends your day a little bit. But when you're just starting off, that's not a bad way to kind of gain some momentum and pick up a little bit of extra cash to throw toward, your student loans and really kind of hack them down, especially if they're as high as 300,000 or some of the ones we're seeing, Well, Brandon, what is one tip you would give to somebody just starting out in the field who may be looking for some PRN opportunities? What should they look for? What's a tip you could give them?
So I kind of mentioned this before. One thing I would say, and I'll put this at the end too, but is watch my YouTube channel. I have lots of videos on there about bill rates and so on. You can see that, if you're an outpatient and you're seeing a Medicare patient for 4 units, depending on the state, you're going to be generating around $120 on average across all states. So if you're going to take an hourly outpatient job in that setting, then, you might get $30 to $50 an hour, depending on the state and so on. But if you're PRN, what you can easily negotiate more because you're not paying for your health insurance and so on. So you might get $50 plus an hour. You pick up multiples of those, and then you're getting paid at least half, which will bring you in a revenue. Now, if you're going to do PRN home health, I honestly just recommend you take my home health mentor course, because it's going to break down home health for you, even if you're a new graduate, or if you're not a new graduate, but you've never done home health. It will break it all down, show you what you need, as well as negotiating mileage and so on. Because, you said, it's an hour out of your way. But if you get mileage negotiated, well, you're getting paid to drive. So there's a give and take here. It depends on what you want to do in what setting. I've also seen people work acute care PRN at higher rates. And that's another option, because you can work 3 days a week and do 3 12-hour shifts with that, or you can work weekends in acute care as well. And what you'll notice in acute care is they have all these options to go full-time. But when you actually do the math on the numbers, full-time, you might only be making $30 an hour for benefits, where around PRN, you're making $50. So even if you're not getting health insurance and so on, you're going to be taking home more money in your pocket.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Brandon. Those are some really great tips. I was thinking about it. I have a small pediatric clinic up the corner from me, and they've asked me to do some PRN work for them just to get their caseload up to a full-time, where they can then bring in a full-time employee. And their rates were $65 an hour to start, and they're flexible. They said they could even go higher. So, it's really just a matter of negotiation and getting out there and really finding the local territory, what the numbers look like, and then finding a number that works for you, that you can settle down on, and that you like and you agree with. Because at the end of the day, it just kind of depends on how much they need you and what they're looking to accomplish. So PRN to me is a good place to start. Like I said, it's a nice little building block that you can make a little extra cash pretty quickly, especially if they don't need to hire you up for the benefits or anything like that, so.
Yeah, you'll see some traps though with PRN too. Not that PRN the trap, but what you'll see is you'll offer a PRN offer, and then they'll offer you a full-time job comparable to your PRN rate, or a part-time job comparable to your PRN rate. I don't recommend that, especially if you're not sure of a setting, because then you're locked in for 20 hours a week or so on. And PRN, a huge benefit is you can refuse, you can work when you want, you can take vacation when you want. So it's kind of like, once you understand bill rates and all this stuff that schools probably should have taught you, but maybe don't, because they're training you to be an entry-level clinician. Once you learn the business side of it, you can see that having healthcare for an employee is a huge cost, but sometimes they'll eat that healthcare cost to pay you a bit less. It really depends on what works for you. I really don't recommend anybody go full-time anywhere at this point in therapy. I recommend travel and PRN, and that's really it. The reason I say that is we don't know what's happening with the market. And also we see a lot of people get tied down and trapped in situations where they signed like a contract and so on. Where PRN, at least you can try out a facility before you go full-time. Then, you want to be there 10 years, sign a full-time employment, get benefits and so on. Depends on your medical needs, your family and so on. But if you are starting out and you don't really have serious medical needs or so on, and you just need to make as much money as you can, then PRN is the best option.
Yeah, great points, Brandon. Thanks so much for coming on tonight. I can't thank you enough. I appreciate your expertise and taking some time out to talk to the audience about some different revenue streams they can layer on. But where can people find you online if they have further questions or if they want to follow up with you on anything?
So the fastest way to contact me would just be to go to my Instagram, which is at Dr. Smith /DPT or _DPT. So it's dr.smith_DPT. My Instagram, if you direct message me, that's there. If you don't have Instagram, you can find me on Facebook. On Facebook, you can email me at drsmithdpt@gmail.com. You can also check out my YouTube, but I don't even know the channel name for that yet. It's like a long link.
Yeah. We can put all that stuff in the show notes too. I can link that up for everybody who's interested.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to learn a lot more about building and so on, I would say my YouTube is probably the biggest thing coming out. And then also you'll see my updates coming where you'll see how I'm actually making, 2 to 3K per week with the screenshots. Every time I talk about finances, I show the statements. When I think I made my first year out of school, I actually just did my taxes. I made $130,000 last year, my first year out of school, which, that's twice what some people made last year. And that was from all this other stuff going on. Unfortunately, the government kind of took 30,000 of that away.
They'll do that.
but we can talk about that another time because I realized that I was able to claim my LLC on my taxes as a huge write-off. So I should be getting a lot of that back. But if I didn't do the LLC, it was a huge difference.
And we talked about that in episode 1 with David Bailiff, why you should start your own business, whether it be a practice or a mobile practice or a clinic, or even just a business like a digital marketing business or a media business or whatever. Having an LLC gives you some pretty big tax breaks. So
yeah, like I have an EIN too if I ever have an employee and so on, but it's just a huge tax benefit. But also if you're going to go PRN, what I'm going to say is sometimes you can be paid as the LLC. So say if you're doing income-based, you don't want to pay your loans for a while, which, that depends on you and your situation. You're on paper, you're actually cash poor. So your payment might be $0, but your business is cash rich.
Yeah. And that's something that I looked into as well and considered doing for just that reason, because I did the income-driven repayment plan and now I'm just trying to pay huge chunks as I go. And I'll be documenting all that here on the channel. So that'll be kind of interesting to see how that goes. You guys can follow my journey on the YouTube channel. So, well, thanks again, Brandon. I appreciate you coming on tonight and sharing your wisdom and your knowledge and expertise with the audience. And I look forward to talking to you again soon, man.
All right.